One is here. It takes place this Saturday, and Tom Aspinall is about to show why he's the best heavyweight on planet Earth. By far, by far. Just before we get into the picks and preview for this Saturday, I wanted to talk about this real quick. I randomly, just listened to the variety of MMA podcasts there are out there. And I was listening to Brendan Schaub's yesterday. And he just had some of the worst takes about Tom Aspinall. Like he was acting like he was just unpromotable somehow. I mean, this 255-pound, jacked, lean heavyweight who's as fast as a featherweight, moves like a lightweight, knocks everyone out in under one round, he's unpromotable. Dude, and that's how the UFC acts, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Schaub was also saying stuff like, I know everybody wants a Pereira-Jones fight, but Aspinall, if he can maybe outperform John Jones, maybe they should do Pereira-Aspinall, but that just doesn't move the needle. Dude, shut up. What do you mean that doesn't move the needle? The actual two of the best MMA fighters on the planet that are active, knocking out people in their prime, some of the best 205-pound plus men on the planet. And you're going to talk about John Jones coming off a win over old man Stippy? Give me a break, dude. Aspinall is... We'll get to the prediction later. But that really just had my blood boiling. Because Aspinall's the truth. But let's start from the bottom and let's work our way up, man. I'm so excited for this fight card. So excited for Tom Aspinall to headline as undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. To start off the night, I'm going to be taking Jacqueline Emarim over Mizuki. Now, guys, as we all know, on Tuesdays, on these intense technical battles that we have in the UFC, fights like these two, I break it down over on the OnlyFans, and my OnlyFans is only $69 a month. C-Nol MMA. You pay me $69 a month, and you get the really, the grits, the nuts and bolts of what MMA really is with fighters in fights like this. But I'm gonna be taking Omarim as the winner. I know Mizuki hasn't even fought in like 2 years. Ormarin's on a on a winning streak. Just beat Polyana Viana. Give me her. She's been more active. Give me 29-28 decision. Moving on to Azat Maxim taking on Mitch Raposo. I don't know what the deal is with Mitch Raposo. The UFC likes this guy. He's not very good. Wasn't good on The Ultimate Fighter. Hasn't shown anything exciting or interesting in the UFC. No real threats he's shown at all. I think he barely had a significant strike one of his last two fights. So give me Azat Maxim. Azat Maxim has had two somewhat close fights with Charles Johnson and Tagir Ulanbekov. So those really aren't the worst losses at all. Those are top 15 flyweight guys. And Mitch, like I said, has shown no high-level abilities. Besides his athleticism and like power and strength and stuff, he is pretty good there, especially for a little guy. Raposo did not keep it close in any of his two UFC losses. And he does not have the experience whatsoever to keep up with a guy like Azat, who fought pretty tooth and nail with Charles Johnson and Tagir Ulanbekov. Fighting those two guys and showing like you're pretty close to that level, that means you're like a top 25 guy at flyweight. I don't think Raposo even sniffs that. Give me Azat Maxim by decision. Maybe Mitch Raposo sneaking around somehow. I don't know. I just kind of have a weird feeling about that. But more or less, for sure, give me Azat Maxim by decision. I think this is a pretty easy pick. Mitch Raposo's horrible. I don't get it. Moving on to the real heavyweight title fight of the night. Hamdi Al-Dawab taking on Chris Barnett. Hamdi Al-Dawab! That's funny. One of the few Egyptian fighters in the UFC. But, dude, I'm taking Chris Barnett by first round KO. And here is why. I think he's just going to catch him. Both of these guys are just blobs of fat. I mean, they are just bowling balls of men. I know Hamdi's a little taller, but Hamdi, his last fight against Mo Usman just looked like a blob out there, just blobbing around with a fellow blob and Usman. And Barnett, even though he's a blob, dude, he's a blob that can sneak up on you with a quick little strike with a little bit of power on it here and there. And they're a little snappy. They're sneakily snappy, you know. He'll snap your head back a little bit. And I think that's what wins him the fight. I say he catches him in the first round. Even though I know Hamdi Aladewab is a wrestler by trade, he really doesn't shoot that much. And if you don't shoot early, I think that gives Chris Barnett way too much time to find a snappy little shot to knock Hamdi Aladewab right out. So give me Chris Barnett by first round knockout. Yeah, Chris Barnett. Woo! Yeah! I'm so ready for Chris Barnett to fight. Moving on to a very underrated fight, and one of the fights I am very excited about. Nathaniel Wood taking on Jose Miguel Delgado. Now, not to brag too much, but I was at the Ilya Charles Oliveira fight, and I watched Jose Miguel Delgado absolutely decapitate Hyder Emil. And I was really going to take Nathaniel Wood because I like Wood. I like him. I think he's really good. But I think Jose Delgado's good. And I think this is a bad matchup for Wood. He is fighting someone who is a good striker, not on the same level skill-wise as Wood, but he's going to be faster, he's going to be explosive, and he's going to go into the fight. He's going to go out there and fight. I'm taking Jose Miguel Delgado, by third round knockout. I think this is a bad matchup for Wood. I just don't see Wood getting on the inside and landing nice combinations with Delgado. So, yeah. Jose Miguel Delgado. Okay. Technical difficulties there in the middle of my prediction. So I looked all freaked out. I was looking at the recording. Something was going wrong. But we'll get right back into this. Jose Delgado. I just don't think Nathaniel Wood's going to be able to get on the inside and land at-range strikes enough at least to get a good amount of damage and volume worked up to go well on the judges' scorecards. He's not much of a finisher whatsoever. And I just think Jose Delgado is very fast, and his timing is very good from what we've seen in his few UFC wins. And I think he's going to catch him late. I think he's going to be stinging him all fight. Wood may have more strikes landed, on the numbers and whatnot. But I think Delgado's just going to sting him a lot. I think there will be visible damage, and I think the fight will swing Delgado's way as the fight progresses. And I think he finishes him late after accumulating a good amount of damage. And it's a bad matchup for Wood. And I think he should look to grapple. But even with that, he's not like crazy good on the ground. Delgado is quick and powerful. I don't think it'll be hard for him to shake off takedown attempts and whatnot. So I'm going to go Jose Delgado. This is a tough fight for me to pick, man. I love Nathan Wood. Moving on to a blob fest. And they're not the blobbiest of blobs, but they are blubberish. They are big fellas. And it's Walter Walker, the heel hook king himself, taking on Louis Sutherland. I don't know much about Louis Sutherland, if I'm being honest with you. I watched a little bit of highlights. I know it's his UFC debut, but I'm taking Walter Walker. From what I've seen, Louis Sutherland is just a big guy from Europe who was somewhat athletic and had somewhat technique, so he was good over on the regional scene in Europe. There's not a whole lot of big guys. Like Tom Aspinall is like the only big guy from Europe over there who's a high-level MMA fighter. So give me Walter Walker. Has much more experience in the UFC. And I don't even think Walker is going to be much in danger on the feet at all. I don't think Sutherland has anything special to offer. I mean, he's powerful. Not even crazy powerful, though. So give me first round submission, Walter Walker, heel hook. Sutherland kind of looks like a little fish out of water on the ground a little bit. He looks like he has no skill there whatsoever. So I'm guessing Walter Walker locks up a little submission, a little something crazy like that. A little heel hook to keep the streak going. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and move on to Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi. Was that pretty good? Taking on Matheus Camilo. I'm probably not saying any of these names right, but I do know both of these fighters decently. I'm going to be taking Abdul Karim over decision by decision. Camilo is coming off a submission loss to Gabe Green, and Gabriel Green is not that good of an MMA fighter. If we're being honest, he's just not. He's pretty low level. Ugh. And I think Abdul is just much more well-rounded. This fight was weird picking because they kind of like lightweights when they're kind of at the bottoms of the weight class. If they don't have like a crazy X factor, they look pretty well matched. If you're just watching both of the guys' fights and whatnot. But I think he's more well-rounded. I think he's the more high output guy on the feet. And I also think there's a chance he could have a massive grappling advantage. We haven't seen much grappling out of Abdul. But Camilo seems to not be very good there whatsoever. Very vulnerable to submissions. So I think if he mixes it together, I think he gets this done. This is one of those I really didn't know who to pick because I've seen a little bit from both of these guys. But they just seem pretty well matched. But I'm going to bank on the guy losing to Gabe Green to lose to Abdul Karim because he's just looked a little bit better in my opinion. I know this isn't the best breakdown ever, but this is about the wealth of knowledge I got on these two guys. Moving on to what I think is a very, very freaking good fight. We got Ludovic Klein taking on Mateusz Rebecki. How do you say that? Mateusz Rebecki. I don't know how to say that correctly, but I'm going to be taking Ludovic Klein by decision. I think Klein is really going to frustrate Rebecki in the exchanges. Klein is very well disciplined on the feet. Solid takedown defense. Even though it hasn't been against the best guys grappling-wise. And I know he's coming off that loss against Gamrot. And he really, really looked out of place in the grappling situations. But I don't think Rebecki at all is the same type of offensive wrestler that Mateusz Gamer Gamrot is. Okay? He's not that. He's not the same. He's not pushing the pace like Gamrot does specifically. And also, lately he just hasn't utilized the grappling very much for me to think he's just going to come out here and utilize it in this fight against Klein. And I think Rebecki, he likes to get into brawls where he can be in range and throw some short, tight hooks, man. That's where he likes to fight, and I don't think Klein's going to let the fight get there. I think he's going to stay at range. I think he's going to work the body very well. I think he's going to mix up his combos, and I think he's just going to keep on tagging Rebecki as this fight goes on. I don't think he'll be able to finish Rebecki. I think Rebecki maybe gets a round possibly. But I just think this fight screams Ludovic Klein. I think Rebecki, it's going to be very, very hard for him to find a finish. And I think if we're going decision, which most likely this fight will go to decision because Rebecki is really hard to finish, I think Klein is just going to win that on the judges' scorecards 9 times out of 10 when we're looking at this matchup. So give me Ludovic Klein on the scorecards. Could be a finish late. But Ludovic Klein's kind of like Rafael Fiziev, where he throws these nice, tight combinations, sick kicks, mixes it up well, but he doesn't have like that lights-out power. So I do think this is why this fight is closer, and that's why I'm hesitant on picking Rebecki. But I think Ludovic Klein gets this done for sure. And Rebecki, I think after the first round, I think he's going to leave himself open too many times, getting frustrated and trying to brawl. I think Klein's going to cook up some nasty counter combos to freaking take advantage of that opportunity every second he can. So give me Ludovic Klein by decision. Moving on to another decent fight, really. Ikram Aliskerov taking on Jung Young Park. I really wanted to take the Iron Turtle, but when I started looking at this fight, I was like, I can't take the Iron Turtle, bro. I'm taking Ikram Aliskerov by first round knockout. Jung Young Park uses his toughness and scrappy grappling to just like barely edge out and win most of the time against the bottom 50% of middleweight. But Ikram finishes and puts I don't know, like Wally Alves and Andre Muniz. I don't know if you can exactly say Ikram Aliskerov win quality is much better, if at all better, than Jung Young Park's. But he's been in there with Robert Whitaker, even though he got starched. Whitaker's still that guy. Not that guy, but he's still a good guy. But I think Alaskarov, just skill-wise, on the eye test, he's just better than Park. He's going to be a lot better on the feet. He's going to have grappling defense for days. We know this. We know he will. And he is powerful at middleweight. And I know Park is tough, but I think this is just a level above where Park's been fighting. I honestly kind of feel bad for him being put in this matchup. I think Ikram's going to absolutely starch Park in the first round. I mean, Jung Young Park, he's just scrappy and tough, but Alaskarov, like, he's a high-level striker, and he packs a dang good punch at 185. And he's a lot bigger than Park. Park is pretty undersized for middleweight. I just don't see Park I don't see his grappling game being good enough or technical enough to get this fight to the ground where he can control Ikram. I think this is Ikram first-round KO all day long. Moving on to another fight they recently just added, and it's a dang good fight. Nasrat Hakwaprost, if that's how you say it, taking on Quillian Salakid. I like Quillian. I think he's good. I think he's going to be even better. Nasrat's good. He's good right now. He's fought tough guys at lightweight. This is on shorter notice. Give me Nasrat. I want to pick Quillian, but I just think Nasrat is going to be a step ahead on the feet the whole fight. I think Nasrat, he's just fought in the UFC longer. He has better combinations. He has better technical ability, especially in the boxing. And I know Quillian's pretty solid there. But I think he's going to get caught off guard. I think this is too much, too fast. And Nasrat has good takedown defense. I don't think Quillian is going to be able to get it there. At least get it there to win the fight in whether it's a finish or looking good on the judge's scorecard and whatnot. I think Nasrat is going to keep this fight on the feet, and I think he's going to win by decision. I think it'll be hard to finish Salakid, but I think like we'll be like, Quillian's good, but I mean Nasrat's just one step ahead, throwing the third or fourth punch of the combination, working more weapons, using his footwork. Nasrat's pretty quick, honestly. I think Nasrat gets this done by decision. I think Nasrat's going to be setting traps up, and I think he's going to have more variety of combinations. I think Salakid's still a little too basic for this level of lightweight at this point in his career. So give me Nasrat. But I think Quillian is going to have I think he's going to lose, but I think he'll have a good performance, if that makes sense. Moving on to the main card, we have Alexander Rakic taking on Azamat Murzakanov. This is a very good fight, very underrated fight. Light heavyweight fight, somewhat title implications on the line. Alexander Rakic hasn't won a fight since 2021. Azamat Murzakanov 15-0, riding an undefeated winning streak. Excuse me. And I'm going to take Alexander Rakic. And here's why. I know a lot of people are picking Azamat. I know Azamat's fast with some crispy boxing on the fate. But I think Alexander Rakic, and he's used this weapon very well against a lot of his opponents, I think he's going to set up that body kick, and I think he's not going to let Azamat get close. Even though he looks like he's stuck in mud sometimes on the feet, especially with his boxing, his kicks are quick, though, especially for a big guy. They're very powerful. Azamat's going to keep a high and tight guard the entire fight. I think Rakic can chew up that body, get him to start dropping those hands, and I think Rakic will start teeing off. I think he's going to utilize the leg kicks. His kicks are very powerful, and they hurt, man. He kept it close with Magomed. Azamat's best win is over Dustin Jacoby. And Jacoby kind of gave him that fight in a lot of areas, stung him a couple times, made it a little hard on Azamat. I think Rakic is a bigger, better version of Dustin Jacoby. Give me Alexander Rakic. I think he'll have a grappling advantage as well. It's just going to be whether or not he decides to use it or thinks it is appropriate. But I think it's going to be tough for Azamat to get on the inside of Rakic. He's a big guy. Azamat's undersized at light heavyweight. Even though he's dense, he is very dense. He's a big, dense guy. But Rakic is dense and he's tall. Reach advantage. I don't think Azamat will be able to blitz in and land multiple punch combinations on the inside. I think Rakic is going to tee off with some body kicks, inside low leg kicks, and start working in some boxing combos as he chops down Azamat. Give me Alexander Rakic. Give me Alexander Rakic, second round KO. Either the body work is just too much for Azamat and he can't handle it and he succumbs and drops down to his knees, or he starts dropping his hands, thinking too much about the body and leg work of Rakic, and Rakic will find him on the chin. Rakic is powerful. That opens if he can find it. That's a finish. Give me Alexander Rakic. Second round TKO. Not a full knockout cold. TKO. Yeah! Let's go! Huh. Moving on to Alexander Volkov and Jailton Almeida. Almeida, they say. Give me Alexander Volkov. I think Alexander Volkov wins this fight. And I'm gonna talk about it like I'm being technical and stuff. But in all reality, I think Volkov is just better. I think he's just a better fighter. I think Almeida is stuck in mud on the feet. Volkov, at this point in his career, he's improved so much. I don't think you're going to be able to just blitz through him grappling-wise. I don't think that's going to happen. I can't tell you exactly why I don't think that's going to happen, but I think Volkov is just good enough to not let that happen. And I think on the feet, Volkov can pick this guy apart. He's slow, which gives... And Volkov's not fast, really, but with him, he will have somewhat of a speed advantage. And you give a guy like Volkov who's at times shots well, picks shots well, give him that, what he already has with a speed advantage. I think it's a bad recipe for Jailton Almeida. I think maybe he gets the first round, early domination on the ground, somewhere in there. But I think that second and third round's all Volkov. I think he starts to wilt away Jailton Almeida late. Give me Alexander Volkov by decision, 29-28. I think Jailton will probably win that first round, and I think Volkov is going to take over halfway through that second and absolutely dominate the third. I think he has a much better gas tank than Jailton as well. And Volkov, he's just shown that he has improved on the ground, and the fact that he does continue to improve tells me he's still working hard for this fight, especially when it's possibly one fight away from a title fight. I think Volkov's still working hard, working improvements. Give me Alexander Volkov by decision. Moving on to the real co-main event. The people's co-main event. Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Mario Bautista. I really wanted to pick Mario, but after that patchy mix loss to Wicklacz, give me Umar. And I was mainly going to take Mario just because I liked the matchup and I just didn't want to take Umar and wanted to be different. But now I don't think Mario has much of a chance, man. Umar is going to win this fight. Mario Bautista, one of his weapons that he uses in his fights is the pace. And he doesn't put a crazy pace, but he's freaking rock solid, dense bantamweight. He gets right in your face, right on your foot line, and he stays with you and cuts the cage off. That's how he fights and works his boxing, works the body, and shoots double legs. Umar is very, very fast. Throws crazy combinations with some wild kicks. Pivots off angles very well. I think it's going to be hard for Bautista to use that pace and aggression against Umar. I don't think, even if Umar wants to let him push him to the back foot, I think even off the back foot, Umar will find the openings. He's fast. There's a lot of things up the middle that Umar can attack with it in a fight against Bautista. And I think he has the grappling advantage as well. I don't think Mario, even if he wants to, will be able to take down Umar. His scrambling's very good. I'd give Umar the grappling advantage. I think Umar has a better chance to take down Bautista than Bautista does have the chance to take down Umar. Just the more I thought about this fight and the guys that Bautista beat to get where he's at, his best wins against Aldo, who was probably not in his prime, and just kind of sat on him the entire time. I like Bautista. I don't even hate on him for that too much. I mean, it was a horrible fight, and he's one of the few guys that scampered by a performance like that after beating up on Patchy Mix, defending the UFC home soil. Nevertheless, though, I think this is Umar all day. I think, like I said, I think the speed is going to be a huge deal. I think Umar's ability to move on the feet with his footwork, pivoting, not being scared of the grappling, I think it kind of takes away what Mario does best. And I think Umar wins this fight by decision, 30-27. I think Bautista has close rounds, kind of here and there, maybe. But I think this is Umar's fight all day. I think it's going to be hard to get Mario out of there, though. So, Umar by decision, I think, is the play on this. Umar, he just has too many tools in the toolbox, that guy. I just think it's too much for Mario. I think he's right on the outside of, like, those elite guys at bantamweight. I think he beats everyone, like, ranked 6 and below. But those top 5 guys in champion, I just think he's just a tad bit below him. He's good, though. And I think he could give Umar a couple of hiccups starting off early in that fight with the boxing. But I think after Umar just kind of sees the punches coming and just finds where he wants to bounce off and throw his own combos, I think he's just going to outland him. I think he's going to pop him more. I think it's going to be hard for Mario to hit Umar to begin with, especially with that speed advantage. I know I've said that a million times, but it's a big factor at bantamweight. Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, we have Irina Kakara Jancharidoba taking on the booty, Mackenzie Dern. Before we talk about the fight, let's talk about the promotion behind Mackenzie Dern. Was anybody watching Embedded? I think it was episode 1 or episode 2. Literally half of the 7.5 minutes is literally videos of Mackenzie Dern and her training partner at the pool club at the hotel. And they're just videoing their butt cheeks, man. I didn't even enjoy it one bit. I didn't like it at all. Don't show that. I can't see that. But the degeneracy pushing of the UFC is crazy, man. Let's not be freaking goon baiters. If you know, you know. But give me Mackenzie Dern. Give me Mackenzie Dern to be the women's strawweight title holder. This is what I'm basing it off of. I know everyone's taking Verna, but I stumbled upon an interesting little MMA math. Okay. Dern loses to girls like Yan Xiaonan, Amanda Lemos, Jessica Andrade, and Marina Rodriguez. All these strikers, somewhat kind of powerful, countery girls at strawweight. But Verna beats all those girls. But loses to Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Hebes, and Carla Esparza, 3 grapplers. I think this is an opposite-see fight where Mackenzie doesn't do good against strikers that are pretty good, and Verna Jandiroba does good against strikers. And Mackenzie Dern's a grappler. Give me Mackenzie Dern, dude. Boom. I bet y'all weren't ready for that math. Give me Mackenzie Dern. She's going to lose, though, probably. But give me Mackenzie Dern. For real. That's a for real pick. Give me Mackenzie Dern. I think she wins this fight. No, really, I kind of like that, though. It's interesting. Like, Verna uses her, like, grappling and, like, scrappy, like, clinch, blah, 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 that type of stuff against, like, these striker ladies. But then when she fights these grappling heavy ladies, she loses, and Mackenzie loses to the strikers. But Verna is going to fight Mackenzie like those strikers where she wins, but Mackenzie's going to... Yeah, this makes sense, man. Give me Mackenzie Dern. All right. It's time to get serious. The main event! Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane! Tom Aspinall by first round knockout. It was always Tom Aspinall by first round knockout. Not a submission, no. All these people were getting nervous for Ciryl Gane. He could give him problems, and he could. But Tom Aspinall is that guy. He's that mofo. He is the steamroller. He is the British killer. Tom Aspinall, first round knockout over Ciryl Gane. Tom Aspinall turn heel, say, hey John, I you's a great fighter and everything, but I just beat this guy 50 seconds faster than you did. Why don't you come out of retirement, John? I put you in retirement. Why don't you come and fight me? Fight me, Alex Pereira, running away from me, trying to fight old man John. Ha! Why are you scared? Why is everyone scared of little old Tom? If you want to fight the best, you come fight Tommy Aspinall, UFC heavyweight champion of the world. And he turns heel! And went, yeah! Dude, Tom Aspinall is going to knock out Ciryl Gane in under a minute. You will not hear a peep out of John Jones. He'll be coping. Or you'll hear a little, Ciryl Gane, he didn't look in shape for that fight. Even though dude, this fight gets me so fired up because Tom Aspinall is the most dangerous man we've ever seen on planet Earth, dude. He's insane. I don't get it. No, Alex Pereira, if you want to move up to heavyweight and do this GOAT stuff, you're fighting Tom Aspinall. John, if you want to come back, the only person you can fight is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is the fight. He is the best. He's the best big guy on the planet right now. He's the baddest man on the planet, dude. First round KO, Tom Aspinall. Like and subscribe. UFC 321 this weekend. Tom Aspinall decapitates Ciryl Gane. Turn heel. Call out all these ducking dudes. And show them who you are. Like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know if you disagreed with any of these picks or predictions of mine today. Drop a comment below. Like and subscribe. See No MMA. Tom Aspinall shows the world he's the best big man on the planet tomorrow. Saturday, I mean. It's Wednesday. Let's go!